quickly?
Okay, doing all these steps and everything takes a while.
How much of it do you have to take?
3,000 units.
Holy mackerel.
Well, it depends on how big or how much you want.
I've been fighting this case for quite a while now. What are some of the barriers? What are the most difficult things in order to get through the legal process of your litigation at this point? I'm sorry, cut.
It's important, though, to get the truth out. Another thing that's very important in getting the whole story out is the lawyers are not used to sharing very much, and the hemophiliacs as a community I think have had a lot to teach the lawyers in terms of not having the lawyers reinvent the wheel each time. They need to work with each other. There are groups all over the world in Ireland, England, Italy, Spain, Japan, Australia, where everyone can work together to get the truth out and get the set a fire under the lawyers and say, everybody share with everybody. We want to get the truth out. We want to know the whole story.
As far as the litigation is concerned,
I think there are several important issues that have to be addressed for the litigation. One of them, of course, is that time is on the side of the fractionators. I think it's a shame that they have delayed and delayed for so many years now, 20 years since the epidemic started, and to delay while more and more people die from hepatitis B and hepatitis C and HIV. And so now it's the widows and the children and the grandchildren who are following with the battle.
what was the most frustrating aspect of during the time of hearings or during the court?
Personally, the most frustrating part is to see how difficult it is to get the entire story into the court record. It's often that the lawyers from the big companies will just block things and block things. They're not interested in everybody learning the truth. Oftentimes, the legal system in a search for the truth conflict, and that's very heartrending and very frustrating. A case in point, there were some ads we had that Alpha Therapeutics ran in a gay newspaper, The Advocate, asking gay men with hepatitis to come in and give plasma so that they could manufacture a vaccine. And this is something that should immediately go into the court. It's had to be record in recent litigation. And what this may have done is may have brought in not only gay men with hepatitis, but other gay men without hepatitis whose blood would not be screened out by the blood test to go in and donate plasma, and that may have affected the composition of the pools in terms of percent gay donors at a very critical time. This ad was run in 1981, right when there was a dangerous time for that kind of blood to get into the blood pools for the factory.
I'm Terry. I'm Ken's mom.
Okay. All right. When was Ken infected with the HIV virus, and how was he infected?
Well, we found out that Ken was infected with the virus in the early 80s. He was probably about 18, right around that age. It was pretty shocking.
What was running through your mind? What was your initial reaction to the whole situation?
I just couldn't believe it, because he's my only son, and I only have one grandson, so that was really important, and I was in denial. And just being a mother of a hemophiliac, I was always fighting denial anyway, because the women are the carriers. And I love him, and he's really important to me, like most moms feel. I couldn't believe it. But Ken just made me believe it. He's very strong, and he was determined to make a difference and do something. So it was hard.
And how did this affect the whole family life?
Well, again, Ken, the only son, we really put him up on a pedestal, and he's always been very passionate about things in life, and he was always the kind of kid that would want to stand up for the right cause. Things were fair, be in his friend's life or his life or anyone else's life. He wanted to be right there to make a difference, and so we knew that that's the way he was. So here now was something that was a life and death issue, and he had a lot of friends in the community, and I mean, he would take them to heart. He'd bring them home with him. He'd sit at their bedside, you know, when they're sick, and he was always just really, really caring. And so we just said, well, we're going to have to support him. He did some radical things. He still does radical things. And sometimes we didn't understand fully where he was coming from and where he got the energy, but we've always been very supportive.
It is kind of an unusual case for people who are infected with the HIV virus to come out and demonstrate against such a good cause, not only for himself, but others who have been affected by this infection. When you see his motivation and when you see his effort, what goes through your mind, basically?
Well, honestly, there's times I think, can't take a break. You know, I don't know. You're just so passionate about this, and when I found out he was going out in front of Bayer and actually talking to people and trying to get the message across as they were going to work, that this is, you realize what kind of company you're working for and how people's lives have been affected. I thought, wow, that was pretty brave to go out there all by yourself in Berkeley, you know. And then he'd come and have coffee with me, say, Mom, I got to tell you what's going on. And a couple of times he took me to the Berkeley, the Bayer, where the office is, and would kind of give me an idea of what he did, and it was mind-boggling.
Children, take their pharmaceutical equals mass murder!
I guess because I'm more of an amiable personality, and Ken's very out there, I had to process it. It took time. But he has his older sister who's very dynamic like him, and she gets right in there whenever that he needs her. But I thought the scope of it was just so big, and when he had his website, and I just was so proud actually of my son that he would care so much about people, because he was out there in front of Bayer saying 4,000 men, women, children died, and I just, I'm a spiritual person, so I thought, Lord, what are you doing in my son's life? And then after a while, I realized he really was making a difference. And people's lives were affected. And I a couple of times was with him when he introduced me to some of his friends that were in hospitals and they were dying. He'd say, Mom, so-and-so's only got a little bit time to live. You want to come with me? And I went to one of the major players and with this whole operation and saw him when he was nearly dying, and he was very gracious to let me come into his home and share some things, and I just got the scope of, wow, Ken is really, his police would come out from the local area, but they realized Kenny had a good heart, and that he wanted to really help people, and for people to not just die going unnoticed. Most moms and the grandmothers and the children, what can they do? They really don't know how to handle the legal system. It was like a team of people, everybody working together.
Children, take their pharmaceutical equals mass murder!
Okay. Well, let's go to the.
You wanna go, go the point or?
Oh, you want to go? Let's go. Okay. Well, let's go get. I need to get gas first.
Yeah.
And some other things.
I gotta get gas.
Hey, how's it going, man? Any hope? What are you doing? I'd like to get it on camera. Hold on a second. Let me grab my hat. Sana's just...
Hercules used the cooler.
Dad, what do you want me to do with this?
Oh, you know, from the colors.
Flash? Flash, yeah?
Hold on a second. You walk around.
They're used to yeah. How do you use the corners to play drugs in Africa?
Oh, I'm going to. I hadn't seen. I've only seen.
How do you turn a flash? Flash on, Dad. How do you turn the flash? Uh-oh, somebody's trying to come in.
Children, take their pharmaceutical equals mass murder! 6,000 men, women, children, dead!
Do you need a microphone? Don't use a microphone anymore? You need a microphone. Ever seen him do that? Have you ever? I don't know. Have you ever seen him?